What's up, everybody? Week 7 in the books. Week 8 is here. Man, last week was an interesting week. First, before we start off with anything, Mets have new owners. It's official. The Black Cloud, I feel, is going to be lifted, along with the Wilpons walking themselves right out the damn door. We've become one of the cheapest organizations, and now having the owner who has the most money. And it's not just about signing free agents. It's not just about, keeping your guys that you've built up. It's also about building the infrastructure. And I'm like what I'm hearing already. We're going to be building into the technology, building into the analytics, bringing in the right people. I'm excited. Hopefully next year we break the schneid. It's been what, 30, 34 years? It's going to be 35 years next year. Hopefully we break it. We saw the Dodgers do it this year. They broke their 32-year slide. Hopefully, we break ours next year, and we can be the world champs. So let's go Mets. All right, let's get into it. Last week, I was 3-4. First matchup, Eli, two-time Super Bowl MVP versus legendary Giant. And honestly, I didn't have much confidence in my team last week. I didn't think I was going to win. But that just shows how good I am. That I even beat my own expectations. Knocked out Long, got the win. Yes. Big game. Aaron Rodgers, 35 points. Bounce back game after a horrific showing against Tampa. Um, Waller had a good game for me. Hilaire had a few decent points. I mean, when it just came down to it, man, wow, some of you guys just did it before, man. CeeDee Lamb did nothing for you. I did not really hurt you. It was a close one, but I pulled out the win 111 to 105. I'm now 5-2. Juan drops down to 5-2. Next up, we have Steel Curtain versus Baby Shark. And man, this was a close one. 120 to 119. Steel Curtain gets the win. Ariel, you're 4-3 now. You're in the thick of the playoff race. Evan, tough loss. You dropped down to 2-5. It's crazy. You're actually one of the highest scoring teams in the league. You just have had some bad luck. And you're going to have some bad luck this week, too. Baby Shark drops down to 2-5. Next matchup, Frank's Jets versus N Team 8000. And Frank's Jet pulls out the win 147 to 124. Talk about a freaking huge game from his wide receiver, Adams. Devontae Adams had 39 points. Insane. Everybody thought Frank's Jets is a little crazy. You draft quarterbacks in back-to-back rounds. You draft Prescott and then you draft Wentz. It may have been a mistake, but that mistake is saving you right now. As listen, Wentz had a big game for you and got you to win. Marco, I feel for you, man. Brady had 44 points, had a monster game, but no one else stepped up, man. Tough loss. Frank's Jets goes up to 5-2. Marco drops down to 2-5. Next matchup, Bad Boys versus Flying Buffalo Wings. Man, Alex, man, you're on a schneid, man. 115 to 75. It wasn't even close. Bad Boys. Three in a row now. You're 5-2, tied for first place. Man, it just wasn't close, man. Kyler Murray had a huge game, 42 points. Gurley had 21, and Alex, nobody really came up big for you this week, man. Surprisingly, because Allen against the Jets, you thought he was going to have much more points. I mean, the Jets are just horrific. But Bad Boys tied for 5-2. Alex, you dropped down to 4-3. Next matchup, Team Deal versus Brooklyn Giants. And man, I gotta say, this was an upset, man. I didn't see this happening. Danny, you got the win. You're 3-4, man. Will you drop down to 3-4? It's 107 to 75, man. It wasn't even close. It's gonna be clear. It's gonna be a bottleneck in that middle. Next matchup we have Colin Kaepernick versus Gotham Knights. And let me tell you, so last Sunday, I go to my son's new place to go. My father came over to paint his room, and we're all hanging out to watch the game. And my son feels dejected because he was looking at his team and he had a toss up. Should I start AJ Brown? AJ Brown, or should I start Claypool? He starts Claypool. Claypool does nothing. Gets him 0.3 of a point. Brown goes off, gets 25 points, 153 yards. He's like, I lost. There's no way I'm coming back from this. I was like, look, you never know. Lockett can have a big game. You never know. Not only did Lockett have a big game, he dropped 47 points. Insane. 200 yards receiving, 3 touchdowns. Colin Kaepernick went from almost getting defeated to winning by 15 points, 121 and 106. Terry, man, I feel for you, man. You're 2-5. You're another team that you're one of the highest scoring teams, and you've come across some bad luck, man. You come across teams that just are having monster games, or in case of last week, I mean, you're up by a nice considerable margin. All of a sudden, Lockett goes up for 40 something points, and you're like, I mean, how do you contend with that? Colin Kaepernick goes up to 4-3. Gotham Knights drops down to 2-5. And in the last matchup, I'm telling you this, I keep giving you credit. I'm gonna give you credit again. Bubba, you're starting to gain some momentum, man. You pull out the win 144 to 118. You're now 3-4. And listen, you're making some moves. After the big loss with Saquon Barkley, but you know what? You had a lot of running backs on your team, and that saved you because the theme this year are running backs are going down at a crazy rate. I'm going to talk about a matchup that's coming up this week that shows two teams that have really bad running backs going against each other. I mean, it's just been bad. But you pulled out the win. Khalid, man, I mean, you dropped down to 2-5, man. You've lost 4 in a row. Maybe you just need to leave one guy off your bench a week and maybe or on a bye, and then you'll start winning again. Because, man, you started off well when you weren't focusing on your team, and now that it's been bad, man. Part of it is injuries. Part of it's just been some bad luck that you've come into. But yeah, last week you really didn't have much people come up big for you. 144 to 118. Mean Machines drops down to 2-5. Bushwick Hitmen is now 3-4. So let's look at the standings. 4 teams tied for the top spot at 5-2. Eli 2-time Super Bowl MVP, Legendary Giant, Frank's Jets, Bad Boys. So now I'm looking at the standings. I'm like, well, why am I in the top spot if all of us have the same record? And I just realized every other team that's 5-2, I've beaten this year. So I have the tiebreaker against all 3 of you guys. That's kind of beautiful. Followed up, Steel Curtain, Colin Kaepernick, Flying Buffalo Wings at 4-3, taking up the 5, 6, and 7 spot. In the 8th spot, Bushwick Hitman. Listen, I'm not gonna lie, I'm not a favoritism. It's just good to see Bubba competing, man. Because I know Bubba's a very good fantasy player. He's won this league twice, and it was just so odd that the last few years he's been in the bottom. I'm not just the bottom, like the bottom. So it's good to see this year you're contending, even with the losses that you got hit early in the season. You're coming back, and I like that. But Bubba, you got a lot of competition. Team Deal and Brooklyn Giants also tied at 3-4. And then right behind you guys, you got 4 teams that are 2-5. Baby Shark, NGM 8000, Mean Machines, and Gotham Knights. So anybody can still make the playoffs. Anybody can still make a run. Listen, it's important to pay attention to that waiver wire because as injuries go down, it's these key guys that you pick up, that you stash away, that can help you win your league. And I'll give you a perfect example. Let's jump into this week. And I'm just going to jump into this first matchup just because I think this first matchup is insane. I'm not even going to talk about mine. Team Deal versus Frank's Jets. Danny's starting running backs. Le'Veon Bell, who's a backup who doesn't really know much of the KC system. And Le'Veon Murray from New Orleans, who's also the backup running back, who you may steal a touchdown here and there. But again, the backup. And he's got the better of the tandem because Frank's Jets has Jasizik from San Francisco, even though they've lost like 50 running backs this year. And Malcolm Brown of the Rams, who usually Henderson gets the burn, and I believe Akers is back, so Brown's not going to get much. Man, running backs are at a premium this year. I got a few starting ones if anybody wants to make a trade. I'm just saying, I got Kelly. I got Bowman. Hilaire Edwards is off limits. So don't ask. He's my running back for the next 3 years. But I may be open to a trade. In this one, I think Danny's gonna take it. I think Team Deal's gonna get the win over Frank's Jets. Yeah, I'm picking them on this. Next matchup, Eli 2-time Super Bowl MVP versus Baby Shark. And sorry, Evan, man, but I'm gonna get the win this week. I just think my running backs can come through. Mixon's another running back who's out. I mean, the list goes on and on. And with Gibson having to buy, with Swift and Singletary, I don't know how much damage they're gonna do. I got my team taking the win this week. Next matchup, Flying Buffalo Wings versus MC 8000. And I'm just gonna go with MC 8000. I just think unfortunately Brady's gonna have a good game against the Giants. I think Henry's gonna have a good game against Cincinnati. Cincinnati's defense, they start off well, but then they give up big yards, and I think he's gonna have a monster rushing game, and I think he's gonna get the win. And Ayuk from San Fran looks really, really good. And now with Deebo Samuel out, I think he's also gonna have a big game. I got MC 9000 getting the win. Next matchup, Bad Boys versus Legendary Giant. I'm gonna give it to Bad Boys. I mean, and just because I'll tell you right now, Eddie, part of it is you got a solid team. But also, for whatever reason, every time you face somebody, it seems like they have a bad week. If you look at the points, you're like one of the lowest scoring teams in the league, but yet you're 5-2. And I think part of it is that guys just have bad weeks against you. And I think this week is going to be a little bit of the same. Carson may not even play, and if he does, he's not going to be 100%. Kareem with the Jets against KC, I think KC's going to be up 21-0 after the first quarter. I don't think Kareem's going to get any burn at all. Maybe some catches out of the backfield, maybe. I just think you're going to take it this week. I got Bad Boys over Legendary Giant. Steel Curtain versus Bushwick Hitman, and this I think this may be the best matchup of the week, just because you got two teams who I think are hitting their stride. I'm going to go with Bushwick Hitman just because Bubba, man. I just think that you've turned a corner, and I think you're going to go on a nice little run here. But, Ariel, if you win, I wouldn't be surprised. Just that you have, you know what, when you first drafted, I was like, oh, some of the picks were a little questionable. But you know what? It's starting to look better and better, and you've got a solid team. So, but I'm taking Bushwick Hitman this week. Gotham Knights versus Brooklyn Giants. What I was talking about with Eddie and Bad Boys, how it's kind of like they've hit a team, and every time that team is up poorly. Terry, I think you're the opposite. Every time you face a team, that team has like a monster week, or something crazy happens at the end. I think this week I got Gotham Knights over Brooklyn Giants. I just think Will gets the loss here, and I think you're both going to go to 3-5. So I'm taking Terry's Gotham Knights in this one. Mean Machines versus Colin Kaepernick, and I'm taking Colin Kaepernick. I just think there's a few guys here that are just going to have. I think Roethlisberger's going to have a big game against Baltimore. I think Jefferson's going to have a good game against Green Bay. And I just think, I don't know if Tua, first matchup against the Rams is kind of tough. I don't know if he's going to do too well. So I'm going to take Colin Kaepernick in this matchup. All right. So I have Eli, 2-time Super Bowl MVP, Team 8000, Bad Boys, Bushwick Hitmen, Gotham Knights, Colin Kaepernick, and Team Deal. Like I said, last week I was 3-4. Hopefully I do better this week. I think, we'll see, but I think the Giants may pull out a win or a heartbreaking second loss. I don't think it's going to be a blowout. I think it's going to be a much better game than anticipated. It's going to be fun to watch football this week. On the flip side, I think KC is going to beat the Chiefs. They'll beat the Jets 41-0 this week. I think it's going to be a shutout or close to it. And I think it's going to be a blowout. You guys have a good week. I hope you guys had a good Halloween. We're in November, week 8. You guys have a good week. Talk to you guys later. Don't forget to vote.